Muses, welcome to Cosmo Muse Tarot and to your September reading. If you have not already gone and done your Virgo season reading, you might want to check that out first. In previous months, I've done just a general month ahead tarot reading, but this month I'm experimenting with breaking out the zodiac solar season and then the numerological month. So Virgo season, which is the reading that was just before this one, started on August 22nd and it goes till September 22nd. So there's sort of an astrological read on a month-long period at least. And then I'm using sort of the month of September or the month of October, doing more of a numerological read. So just two different ways of reading energies, and they're meant so that you can kind of pair them up or layer them to get really deep insight into how your month might be in, and a little bit more personal too, because your Virgo season reading you may share with a whole bunch of people in a certain way, but differently have a numerological association that makes you experience it a little different from a lot of people that would that you shared that Virgo group with, right? So to do this reading, I also want to do a little tutorial so you know which month you are going to experience numerologically, so to help you find your month number. There's a lot of different ways people might add this up, and I have experimented with this for years, and I will never just read or listen to an expert and say oh, this is how they do it, so this is how it's done. I will try it out in my life until I understand how it's playing out and I can see it and experience it. And I've always had a discord with that in numerology in terms of year numbers and month numbers and day numbers. I've never fully connected to those, and then I got a reading from someone that was recommended to me, and they showed me their way of adding things, and suddenly it all just it lines up and it works for me. So if you study numerology or you know a lot about it and you have your own way of doing this, do your way. But I'm going to show you my way to find your month number for this reading. So we go in cycles of 1 through 9, and you first need to know your year number to get your month number. And so the way that I do this to get the one that resonates for me is you will take I'm going to make up a date. So let's say you were born in February. So the month number is 2. And then you add it to the day you were born. So month number plus the date. So let's say you were born on the 13th, but you break these out into single digits. So 1 plus 3. And so you leave the day and the month as their own segment. So in this case, we've got, the 2 plus 1 plus 3 add up to 6. And then, because we're looking at the current year that we're in, you're going to add the current year number, sort of. It depends on when your birthday is. And this is where it differs from maybe how I do it compared to maybe how you or other numerologists might do it, is I resonate so much more closely if I use the year number in which my last birthday was. So in this example, because we're just past February, the last February was in 2024, I would use 2024, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4. But for me, because this is a made-up birth date, I was actually born in September. So if I was doing this for myself, I would use 2023 instead. So if you have a birthday that has not happened in this current year yet, or your last birthday was in 2023, you're going to use that number instead. So I'm not going to make you add these up. I'm just going to give you those numbers. So 2024 is an 8 and 2023 is a 7. So whichever one matches for you, you're then going to add that number to the number you got from your month and your day. So in this case, it's 8. And so 8 plus 6 is 14, I think, yeah. Which then you add that down as well. So 1 plus 4 equals 5. So someone born on February 13th this year, their number is 5, right? That's their year number. So then you take that year number and you add it to the current month. So this person's year number 5, we would add to September, which is 9, which also equals 14, which then adds down to 5 again. So their month number would also be 5. So hopefully you understand that. This is my way of doing it. If you have your own way of doing that, that's fine. But we are going to make piles, 9 different piles for the 9 different month numbers you may be experiencing, and do a reading for the month based on your month number. Okay, so let us get... I think I'm going to use tarot for this to decipher the piles. So, month number 1's for September. And don't worry, don't get too fixated on what this card is. Just kind of feel into, oh, actually it doesn't matter because you're being assigned. So it doesn't matter which card comes out. Okay, forget what I was just saying. Okay, so if you are month number 1, 8 of Air is your pile. Month number 2, the Moon is your pile. If you're in a month number 3, the Fool is your pile. If you're in a month number 4, 10 of Earth is your pile. If you're in a month number 5, Death is your pile. If you're in a month number 6, the Hermit is your pile. Just move these up a little. Okay, month number 7, Wheel of Fortune is your pile. And month, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. Okay, month number 8, Strength is your pile. And if you are coming to a month number 9, Justice is your pile. And if you happen to have a birthday in September, you can get a reading for both, you know, pre-birthday and post-birthday, because you would be adding, you know, your year number would be a little bit different, because you would be adding 2023 to your month and date to get your year number before your birthday, but then after your birthday you would be adding the 8 instead of the 7 to get your year number. I hope that makes sense. So if you do have a September birthday, there's a pre-birthday and a post-birthday reading there for you, which is my case. So I will get 2 different numerology readings, although my birthday's on the 4th, so I might even just do the post-birthday one because there's only a couple days before that. Anyway, there you go. Timestamps will be in the description. So yeah, use the number that is your month number, and we will check out what that means for your September. And when you are ready, timestamps are in the descriptions. Did I already just say that? That's all right. Just a reminder then. All right, see you guys in your readings. Hello, numerology month number ones. Welcome to your September reading. These are going to be somewhat quick because I have 9 of them, so let's get into it. So your tarot card that initially came out for your pile was 8 of Air. And I think this is interesting in relation to that your month number is 1, which is all about like fresh starts. The 1 in numerology is ruled by the sun, so there's a sense of like lightness, vitality, but also with that 1, it's like some leadership and some fresh energy and assertive energy as well, and a little bit of energy about self. So why that's interesting with the 8 of Air coming out is the 8 of Air can be this feeling of like you're trapped, especially mentally. And so my sense of this is that that 1 vibration coming out for you is like eager to break out of some restrictions, eager to get back to a sense of clarity and passion and finding that sort of fighting spirit. So so it's like that 1 that is coming up is really feeling caged in, which means that eventually at some point in September, it is going to fight its way out of feeling stuck. You are going to fight your way out of feeling stuck in some way. And to do that, you're going to initiate new things, find some impulse, connect to a little bit of fire within, and also trying to channel a little bit of positivity. So let's get a few more tarot cards to see how that actually kind of plays out. This 1, this energy of like wanting some fresh new things, fresh ideas, fresh trajectories, fighting its way into out of like feeling kind of hemmed in. We have Ace of Waters. So yeah, use your emotions to move you, use your emotions to empower you. There's something about really freeing yourself to feel your sensitivities, freeing yourself to feel more nourished in life, to fight for feeling more nourished is coming through with that Ace of Waters. We've got a couple cards spilling out here too. Adelita of Water. Yeah, that water element coming in strong. It's kind of like fight to get more into your emotions and your sensitivity and a sense of fluidity and out of your mind. So there could be this initial fight to move into life in a different, like, energetic way, like fighting to get out of your mind and into that more fluid sense of life, that more emotional connection to life. But that Knight and Ace showing up is really powerful. It's like, I mean, the Ace in general really connects to the 1 vibration that you already have. And so it's just like, just like tap into some emotional impulse. But there's also with the Adelita of Water, which is sort of like the Knight of Water, there is this new sense of, and the Knight is actually the fighter too, is that energy that will fight for you, that will advocate for yourself, that will claim your autonomy and break out of some restrictions. And it's like, just tap into your emotions, like even if they're hard emotions that you don't love, like an anger or something, it's like whatever that emotion is that's coming up, it is going to help you to fight to get free, to push into a new mode of life. And then we have the Empress, and that is what you will reach by fighting to, feel your sensitivities and feel your emotions, and to move out of some mindsets that are making you perceive that you're stuck. It's like there's something about that that's in your mind, and you just need to get into your sensitivity and some raw emotion to move you. And by doing that, you end up in this Empress energy, which is very fertile and very creative and much more talking about the water, much more fluid with life, much more in touch with seeing possibility, seeing creative ability, Okay, we are going to pick one more card, keeping these kind of short and to the point. Let's just do a feather message to kind of give you some encouragement in this 1 month of September for you guys. Eagle, you are learning all aspects of spiritual connection and reaching new heights. So that's beautiful. I think that definitely indicates that Adelita of water energy is really moving you into a different mode, fighting for your energy to feel more just free to move and creatively be in touch with yourself. And that new heights is going to be the feeling of that reaching new heights is going to be the feeling of being in the Empress, of feeling creative and fertile rather than stuck and mentally frustrated. So lovely energy coming in for you in September. A little bit of fight at the start, but you've got it. And at least probably minimally by midpoint of September, if not a lot earlier, just really sinking into, more fire, more water, more creativity, more fertility, more, just creation and fertile energy. All right. Good luck this September. Wishing you so much beauty and excitement with the one, fresh energy coming in. And if this resonated, I always appreciate those thumbs up. Kind and thoughtful comments are great as well, and hope to see you in future readings. Hello, welcome to your September reading. This is for those of you who are experiencing a numerological 2 month. Because I've got 9 of these readings, we're going to go somewhat quick. They're a little bit of a short read, but just tapping into what your month number might, how that might be experienced by you in September. So number 2, or some of you may have had an 11, which is a master number, but we're really just going to stick to the 1 through 9 on this. So 2 either way is about like a month where you're needing to slow down a little bit, to take in and more consideration for others in your life, to be helpful to others around you. It's sort of this energy of being a support system to others, a nourishing force for others. So it's really kind of a bit of a sacrificing energy. And there's a lot you learn through that, of like how important it is to be thoughtful with others and to be there for others, and how that actually creates very fertile conditions in your life, even though you're sort of sacrificing a bit of your own agenda by taking on the role of like the caregiver. You're actually really creating a lot of depth and nourishment in your life, and a lot of, even though you are acting a little bit more as a support system to others, there's goodwill and there's support systems that network in from that, right? And sometimes it can be frustrating to go through those 2 cycles if that's not naturally in your own orientation, because it is sort of, life becomes about others, and it feels like your life kind of slows down. But the other thing we learn in a 2 month or in 2 energy is about boundaries. So you also learn where where you need to draw lines, where you need to say no, where people might step on you. So there are a lot of lessons to learn, about the benefit of being a support system, but also where your line is, where it moves from being a support system when that's needed and respected and there's gratitude for it and where you're a doormat, right? And so you also learn that lesson of where the line is, where you will not be a doormat anymore. So Moon came out for you for this, diving into September, and that is a very kind of nebulous energy. You may feel a little bit confused or a little bit lost, and I would just recommend in that you just really listen to your intuition a little bit more this month. Listen to your body and your energy more than your mind here. So like when you are being asked to help people constantly, like really tuning into how that feels to you and how that's being appreciated, and finding some clarity through that feedback system of how it feels to be helpful and the appreciation felt in return. There's a lot of maybe nebulous energy around that, around helpfulness, and how, like honestly to me, I do feel in September you are going to really clarify some boundaries in your life about helpfulness and generating support systems versus doormat. And I think there's like a nebulous boundary there that you're really going to clear up, maybe through experiences where you do end up feeling like a doormat, but something's clarifying for you of like what there's like a subtle difference of what it feels like to be appreciated, and when it feels like you being a caretaker or helpful to other people or being a support to other people actually generates goodwill, or where you're just there for someone to step on and you're really like honing in on that subtle difference. So let's get a little more about this. We've got 2 of air. Yeah, you may have been coming at this, or like there's something you may be learning about how when you are asked to be a support to others, and what that means to you and how you decide what's appropriate and not, you may get stuck in your head of like reasoning that out and making the pro and con list and like what's fair and this and that. But you may be learning that when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's more intuitive rather than reasoned. And so you may be learning some lessons about how to use your intuition a little bit more proficiently and precisely when it comes to generating kind of support systems. It's not really, this is fair and tit for tat and I helped you so you helped me. It's a little bit more of an intuitive thing, because it's not always something that comes right back to us equally right then. Like fostering goodwill could be like you generate support systems that are appreciated, and then that ends up benefiting you 2 years from now, right? Not tomorrow. And so, if you're using reason, you may be like, oh, well, I did this today, so you should do it tomorrow. And your head can really trap you in those kind of tit for tat things, but it's like there's something deeper, there's a more intuitive, emotional quality you're starting to understand this month about it. And then 7 of water, not everything is as it appears on the surface too, right? Sometimes you have to experience being someone's support system or support systems in multiple ways to really understand what's under the surface of that, what that actually means, what that actually develops in your life. So sort of like try that out. And I think this is that 7 of waters also will help you to refine that sense of once you get under the surface of being a support system, things you can, having had experiences in that, things you can see much more quickly about where that line is between doormat and actually fostering goodwill. But I think there's some things you might need to experience this month that give you a better intuitive sense of that, and how things aren't often as they appear on the surface. But the more experience you have, the more you can actually spot that pretty quickly of what is like really worth that effort of being a support and what is nonsense. Okay, and then we have awakening. Yeah, and I was feeling that this is really a month of curriculum in this. You're really coming into some new leveling up understandings, especially in an intuitive sense, and you're really going to clarify some things that have been a bit nebulous for you around this energy. Okay, to end this reading, we're just going to get you a nice, lovely divine feather message about your 2-month in September. Ooh, and we've got Chickadee. The time is right to release old patterns and energies. You are ready to embrace change. Yeah, I think you're going to experience some things around being helpful, being a support, being a caretaker, whatever it is. That reveals some patterns that have been nebulous, and you're going to see those. You're going to awaken to those patterns and really readjust some long-standing, integrated, stable kind of change, because you're understanding something much, some patterns that come, both patterns that maybe you haven't tapped into that are good patterns of developing support systems, and the good will you create by being of service and by being a caregiver or a supporter or whatever it is. Oppositely, maybe where you've been used and abused in that way, like whatever it is, you're seeing patterns better that will help you to really permanently create some changes here, wising up to it, awakening to certain patterns that you hadn't quite pinpointed before. So, it comes with some curriculum this month, but when you graduate it and you come out of this September, it's like you got something so much more dialed about really creating supportive atmospheres in your life that benefit you and others, right? That create a lot of goodwill and appropriate networks of support. All right, I hope this resonated. If so, I always appreciate support. Likes are a great way to do that. Kind and thoughtful comments are great. Most of all, I'm wishing you a beautiful September and beautiful lesson coming in. All right, see you guys. Hello, pile 3. You guys are here if your September is a numerological month number of 3 for you guys. So the Fool is your first card, and I love that in tandem with a 3-month, because 3s have a lot to do with, like, if you were to start back at 1, when you had your 1 month, which would have been in July, it's like that's when you find that intention, that seed. There's some initiation, but it's still like something still kind of is like the forming of intention, right? The getting clear about something. And then the 2-month, which would have been your last month, August, is like slowing down to feed this and to generate nourishment in your life by being supportive to others and listening to others, because their energy back around that is kind of like the sunlight and the rain and the fertilizer, and it just helps for things to start cracking that seed open and roots starting to come out. But that 3 is like the breakthrough. It's like when that plant moves from seed form, breaking open underground, to breaking through the surface of the ground. And it's like things move. Things suddenly become creative and exciting and colorful. And the Fool is all about taking leaps, taking risks, honoring the impulse that comes through, honoring the daring that comes through, and your energy just saying yes, wholeheartedly yes to something. So it feels like a very exciting month for you. September is like something fresh, something new breaking through for you guys. Okay, let's get a few more tarot for you. So it's going to be, because I have 9 piles in this reading, we're doing, just kind of quick top level overview. So we'll get a few more tarot and then one oracle card to end. This one wants to come out. The Star. Oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful month. New hope, new belief in life, new faith in things. Very electric energy here because the Fool is connected to Uranus, I want to say. Why am I forgetting? One of these is connected to Uranus and one of them is connected to Aquarius, and Uranus rules Aquarius. I think the Star is Aquarius and I think the Fool is Uranus, but it might be, I'm like 90% sure that's right, but either way, it might be reverse of that, but either way, those are out of the blue things. They're electrical energy. It's liberation, it's freedom. But in general, just like electrifying life, right? There's new energy here. There's fresh hope. There's a sense of freedom, a sense of connecting into a more whole sense of your originality and your uniqueness, and really kind of loving the whole spectrum of who you are and feeling a lot of goodwill towards humanity and a lot of collaborative goodwill flowing through you too, which brings a lot of beautiful stuff your way when you feel open and positive about the world and others. So really great energy going on here. Okay, let's get last 2 cards. 2 of Air and the World. Okay. It's sort of interesting with the Fool that asks you to be impulsive and take leaps, and then the 2 of Air showing up, which is about sometimes fence sitting. I get the impression, because of this this feels a little dissonant, like there's some dissonance happening, some tension between these 2 happening. I feel like coming into September, you may be coming in where you are on that like fence of something. You're sitting on either on the sidelines or on the fence, and you're deliberating, which would make sense because you were coming from a 2-month into a 3-month. So that connection I was feeling does feel confirmed by that it's like this way or that way, or sitting on the sidelines because you're not sure you want to jump into something yet. It's like, but a little bit in your mind, right? But something's coming to a close with that. Something's solidifying about that place of inaction. You're gaining some kind of understanding and insight, and I don't know. It's like you're just gaining a certain perspective suddenly. Like something's solidifying in your perspective that allows you to kind of get out of your mind, and then that allows you to connect to impulse, to move life, to electrify life, to have that breakthrough. So initially stepping into September, I feel like the initial energy will maybe feel a little bit stuck, a little bit sidelined or on the fence, but something's resolving, something's wrapping up in a nice, pretty package and making sense, and you're able to put that to the side or behind you now, and then all of a sudden you have only possibility in front of you, and lightning strikes and you leap at it, right? Like some new impulse strikes with that empty horizon in front of you, and it's time to leap, and it feels fresh and exciting and very welcome, right? Very welcome energy. But yeah, it could take a minute to get there, but hang in there. Like I think it will come pretty fast, just because like we're moving out of the 2, right? Like August was your 2 energy, and now you're in the 3 energy. So it feels like like within the first week of September, even the first few days of September, it's like you're leaving behind that on the fence, in the middle, on the sideline, whatever, like something suddenly making sense, and you're able to put something behind you because there's like a successful wrapping something up of, yeah, and it just leaves open space. And yeah, like I said, I'm repeating myself, but it's like the story keeps kind of further solidifying. But yeah, like pretty quickly in the month, it's just going to be, yeah, taking action, feeling hopeful. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so to end, we're just going to get you a divine feather message about your 3 month in September. And we've got White Eagle, the connection to divine guidance is within you. Yeah, and that's that electricity, that's lightning striking. It's like capturing lightning in the bottle, right? You only get that a few times in a lifetime. This may feel, I don't know that it will literally be one of those months, but it will have that essence to it. Like I've caught lightning, that divine guidance came in strong and suddenly, and I connected to it with impulse and hope and eagerness and yeah, really beautiful, and it feels divine. It feels like I'm being guided. All right, so that is your numerological read on September. I hope this resonated. If so, I always appreciate support. Likes and shares are a great way to do that. Kind and thoughtful comments are always something I'm grateful for. And yeah, wishing you a beautiful September, and hope to see you back here soon. Soon. Sorry, hiccups. Hello, numerological month number 4 people. Welcome to your September reading. This is just going to be a quick check-in, kind of top-level stuff, since I've got 9 piles to do. So generally, a 4 month tends to bring a time where you slow down a little bit to create more stable conditions, more solid foundations. It's a building period and a stabilizing period. Tends to come with a lot of hard work, but work you're like feeling good about it. It's work that it's like you now kind of really understand what you're building, and so it's time to kind of slow down and make good plans and create sort of step-by-step ways of doing that, and really creating those solid foundations, right? So you're coming from, like, August would have been your 3 month, which is usually the exciting month, the breakthrough month, more colorful, more active, really energizing energy and creative energy coming out of that. But now that you've seen the color and the possibility and some traction, it's like, okay, but now I need to slow down and like stabilize this. Like, what is this actually building? Where is this going to go? Let's do something real with this. Like, let's actually manifest with this, right? And build something in our lives. So it's really cool energy, but it is a slowdown from last month. So 10 of Earth being the first card, the card that came out for your month number initially in the pile identifications, is showing that whatever this month you are putting some energy into stabilizing and putting good plans around and effort and work into, is something that has the potential to really hold some legacy in your life. It's like really, take it very seriously, whatever foundations you're putting in place, because these are foundations for something that is, holds the potential for wealth building, holds the potential for legacy building, holds the potential for abundance in your life. So really be mindful of that like it, sometimes when we're in that building phase and we don't know exactly where that's going to lead, we don't know how serious to take it, right? We're like, oh yeah, I'm building this thing, it's cool. And then you hear those stories of people who have like really hit it big with some idea or some business or whatever. And they're like, I had no idea that when I was building this, it would be like this, and so it's like, yeah, giving you a peek into your future, that you may look back and be like, I had no idea that what I was building could be this. But now that you have that insight, like take that foundation building that much more seriously and joyfully, right? Like really enjoy it too, right? Because the more you are really connected to the things you're doing in life with, like you have passion and pleasure in it, that just adds to the beauty of it and the potential of it. 9 of Earth, yes, this is something that will bring more self-sufficiency to your life. This definitely feels financial and maybe work related. Doesn't have to be, but there is this like self-sufficiency coming through with whatever you're going to be building. That you may not experience this month, but what you're building, this is what it could lead to, is like a more self-sufficient life, and a more pleasurable life within that as well. There is a Venus connection to this 9 of Earth. So also, all the more reason when I said like make sure you're enjoying what you're building, all the more reason, because this is something that is long lasting. So make sure as you're building the foundation or whatever you're building, doesn't have to be around work, but whatever you're building in life, make sure, really make sure it's stuff that you enjoy, that you find pleasure in. That's very important here. Five of Water. Yeah, there are things that whatever you're building, whatever this month inspires you to kind of slow down and focus more on the foundations and some building aspects, it's like it may be changing the resonance, the vibration around you. And that means that there are certain things that, that when you come into September, you're still on some level like resonating with. But as you get into this foundation building, it's like you're committing, right? You're committing to this direction you're building in life. And there are some things where, because that's going to change your resonance and vibration a little, there are things in your life that won't be resonating the same anymore, that won't be connecting on the same wavelength. Don't take it personally, but there are things that may exit your life. And I say things because I don't think this has to be people. It could be jobs, it could be I don't know, anything really, but there are things that are going to flow away from your life because they're no longer resonating, and that's just fine. You are starting to build something that has a beautiful resonance for you, so just focus on that. 9 of Waters, you guys, take this month seriously. This is wish fulfillment. Where this is leading you, the resonance you're going to build for yourself is going to put you in a resonance that feels in a vibration of life that is way more elevated than where you are right now. And it's wish fulfillment. It's like the life you've wished for. You're laying foundations for right now. So really, really, like be present to that. Be present to doing this in a way that you enjoy, to building foundations that are joyful and pleasurable, because whatever you're building is very long lasting and long term. So yeah. Okay, to end, we are just going to get you a divine feather message about your September. White owl, the wisdom and messages of the divine are within you. Yeah, I think you have an inner knowing. When I look at this owl, I just feel this inner knowing, this sureness, this steadiness, this focus. It's like, just trust yourself, right? You have a lot of wisdom in whatever's coming out of you and whatever you're doing. So trust that wisdom and know that because of that deep, sure inner knowing that you're channeling, it's like a magnet for divine guidance as well. So just sit in that really stable, profound energy that I think you're going to be channeling this month. Just like own it and use it and claim it, right? Beautiful, really gorgeous reading, you guys. Wishing you a beautiful September. If this resonated, I always appreciate support. Likes are a great way to do that. Sharing the reading is a great way to do that. Also always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments. And yeah, hope to see you in future readings. Hello, September readings for those of you experiencing a month number 5 this September. So this will be a somewhat quick reading, just a top level kind of glance at what this month number means for your September. So to kick it off, you guys picked the death card picked you guys, I guess. So that is interesting to me in relation to you guys experiencing a 5 month. The 5 month is all about change. There's a usually associated with the 5 is this feeling of restlessness, of needing to change up the energy, right? But what's happening, why that's taking place, is you're moving out of these kind of in this 1 through 9 cycling we go through. Down in the 1 through 4, we're really kind of with 1, we're taking some kind of inspiration, and then we're finding a way to sort of like ground it. What does that mean practically? What kind of what is this energy? And it kind of descends from sort of mid chakra point down into your lower chakras as you get into like the 3 and 4 energy. So coming in August, you had that 4 energy, and that was about creating foundations for something that was starting to take off creatively in life. Trying to find stability, putting in a lot of work to create foundations, right? So you're really down in this kind of dense energy. But from that, it's like you've committed to something, you now have a direction, you sort of have these goals. And so then with 5, you're in this mode of transitioning from like anchoring this into finding the higher aspiration of what this is, a more spiritual connection to what you're doing. And so that 5 energy, that restlessness, that need for change, is actually this tension within you that's trying to transform this energy from more of that dense, grounding, anchoring energy into this more spiritual, finding the higher purpose of something. And it just like you have to do things in your life and move things in your life to help that transition take place. And so death coming up here feels appropriate to me. It feels like you are in September going to really be moving things around in order to transform some energies, right? Transform a mode of being that's a little bit more material into a mode that's a little bit more spiritual in being. So this death, this transformation is like September is going to be pressing on you to look at life in a more spiritual sense. Events may come up that that really put some pressure on you to elevate the way you think about things, to think about things with a much more broad perspective, less personal, more social, right? But it can be hard to let go, from those denser energies. That's where we have more control of things. It's where we feel more grounded, right? So, because death, even though it's usually more of a metaphor, it can be kind of what's the word I'm looking for? An ordeal to go through, right? When we get on the other side of it, we feel free, we feel empowered, we feel even ecstatic. But to go through the actual death sometimes feels jarring. It can feel like an ordeal. So there may be some ordeal, like an ordeal that comes up in September, that what it's actually about is helping you to transmute some lower energies, release some control, and elevate into a more spiritual perspective about life. So whatever the ordeal is that comes up, it's not about the ordeal, it's about transforming your perspective, how you're moving life, right? The ordeal is there to help you transform. The ordeal isn't about whatever you think the ordeal is about. It's helping you to change mode, to change, your energy a little bit. Okay, let's get a little more insight into this. We're going to do a few more tarot cards, and then we'll end with one oracle. Adelita of Water. Ace of Air, and one more. The Hanged One, exactly. This month is really going to put some pressure on you to change your perspective. It may ask you to pause what feels like forward movement to you, which can be very frustrating, especially with 5 energy, and especially with an Adelita card, which is sort of like a knight in the normal tarot. But there's something where life may stall you and force you to reorient how you're looking at something. So it's like, reading this as a story, I feel like some kind of ordeal is going to come up that is going to really stall forward trajectory, and that tension in you that wants forward trajectory with the 5 is going to force you to make changes inside of you, since you can't push changes outside of you. And those changes inside of you are going to drop you out of trying to grip things too tightly or do things the way you've always done them, or whatever it is. It could be a whole host of things that you're changing out of. But that tension inside, that fighting inside of you to try and like process or understand what's going on, or rage against the stall, will eventually lead you to your heart, will eventually wear you out, whether it's like you're in your head or you're too in this like body attachment or whatever it is. It's like the fighting inside of you, because there's so much of that 5 change need going on inside of you in a night of water, where you're feeling a lot of like emotional energy and eagerness, but something's not allowing you to move forward, is forcing you to change inside first. So it's actually a protection, because if you were to jump forward and make changes in life without having changed into your perspective being in your heart rather than some other place in your body, probably your mind, it's like you wouldn't be on a, you would be on a lower path. You would be on a more, like on a shallower path or a denser path. But the tension coming in that's forcing you to finally find your heart perspective, probably because you finally kind of like give up on something, on the fight, or get tired of that inner tension and fight and kind of surrender. And then suddenly you find that heart perspective. You just like, it's like this immediate transformation, and suddenly you're having these epiphanies and these ahas, and like, oh, everything I've been doing is about this much higher elevated thing. It's less personal than I thought. It's got so much more broad association and connection in the world. And yeah, I wouldn't have been able to see that unless I was like kind of forced to do this inner battle, like an emotional inner battle too. And suddenly I feel transformed. I've transmuted some denser energies. I've transformed my perspective to be more heart-centered. I'm feeling more illuminated and spiritually oriented. And then suddenly that Ace of Air opens up. It's like that new focus comes in, that new target. What you thought was your target transforms into a much more beautiful target at some point this month. Who knows how long? It will probably be different for each of you, to see how long it takes to kind of go through these inner tensions. But it's like, then once you're coming from that heart center and that higher vibration target, that transformed target, it's like whatever your target was before dies and is transformed into this higher, more beautiful target. Then you can unleash that Adelita of water, or the Knight of Water, and use that, sensitivity that's just like eagerly flowing from you to create the outer change, then to match the inner change that's happened, the transformation inside. You will now be free and unhindered to take that forward externally and do things externally to match this new target. Really cool. Okay, so yeah, it comes with some challenge up front, but at some point in September, you're really going to be unleashed with a much higher minded vision and target. Okay, so let's get you a last oracle card from the Divine Feather Messenger, just something lovely to leave you with about September for your 5 energy. And this one wants to come out Condor. Hold the hold the highest vision for your life. You now possess the ability to move past any hurdles. Yeah, so at some point in September you will reach that. Exactly what we've been talking about. I love it. All right, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. If this reading resonated, I always appreciate support. Likes, shares, and subscribes are a great way to do that. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And I hope to see you guys in future readings. Have a beautiful September. Hello, month number 6s for your September reading. Let's dive in. This is going to be somewhat of a short reading since I've got 9 piles to do. So, stepping into a 6-month in general, this is a time where you are like a month where you've been through months 1 through 5 leading up to this. You now have a pretty solid trajectory in this cycling of 9 of like what it is you're doing, what you're responsible for, and how to make that productive, but in like a beautiful way. But there is this sense of duty that comes on with 6. You now have certain responsibilities that are unfolding in terms of like what you've kind of been building on in this cycle of 1 through 5 so far. And I love you coming into a 6th month in September because for the majority of September, we're in Virgo season, and that's the 6th sign. And even though in numerology there isn't necessarily an association of 6 to Virgo, I find a strong correlation. They both have this thing about really holding like a certain wholeness of self, finding a sense of duty and responsibility, and creating systems that are very harmonious, that create rhythm, that create productivity, and it's like bringing heaven to earth kind of energy. This knowing of what you're doing, honing your skill, putting your head down and doing the work, holding the responsibility you know is yours, and owning it, and just like owning your skills that you've developed the skills now to do whatever you're doing here. Also, the Hermit is associated with Virgo. So I love all of these connections coming through and this deep connection to really, it's like, it does feel like this month of like, put your head down, do your work, but make sure you're doing it in this way where you're really connecting to some skill sets that are turning on, like some skills are really clicking in. Instinct has now been honed, and you're becoming not instinctual in that animalistic way, but instinctual in a practiced way. That person that has practiced and studied violin for years and years and years, and suddenly it's like that there's like a new instinct that clicks in because of that practice. Something like that coming through where it's like some focus and dedication and effort and work is clicking in, and this new instinct is clicking in, and you're just really able to put your head down and do your thing and create some magic and beauty and harmonize your life around you. Hold the responsibilities that are yours to hold with, from the outside, seemingly effortless capacity or qualities. But it's because you're practiced, you've honed something here. And so, it's just like do your thing this month, right? Make some progress, trust your instincts, trust your skills. Just trust yourself, right? And enjoy what you're generating out of that. It feels like with this wreath in this particular deck, it's like just like a sense of wholeness coming up. See, I was only going to do 4 tarot, but we have 4 more that came out. So we've got the Star, Adelita of Air, Ace of Earth, 7 of Fire. Okay, let's make a little more room here. Hold on. So the Star, yes, this is really clicking into how I was kind of feeling about Hermit coming up for you and your number in general. Of just like there is this connection to whatever kind of instinct is clicking in. Just feeling like really good about it. I do think it's like a new level of instinctualness, of practiced instinct clicking in, like you're like leveling up. It's like, oh, I've practiced and practiced and practiced, and I was really good at this, but like now I'm just like on a different plane. I think you're getting that. Like, oh, I'm on a different plane now. Like I'm in a different I'm in a different stratosphere of capability. And let's have fun with this. That gives me hope. That gives me some exuberance, right? And then add a lita of air here. It's like unleash it, right? Let that go. Let your mind, because this is connected to air, it's like let your mind dream up new dreams with your capabilities. Dream up new ways of using your skills. Test them out, try them out, move forward, right? And with that, you may even connect to like a new income source or a promotion, or thinking of a whole different kind of job you might want to do. But something valuable gets attached, you discover something valuable here. And then the Seven of Fire, this comes on the back of feeling like you're leveling up, like you can put yourself into a new competitive, like you have become a competitor. Like I'll take this back to like I used to be a figure skater, and there's different levels. Like once you are capable of doing certain things, you can enter a new level of competition. And I feel like this is coming through. It's like you've leveled up in some kind of skill set or instinct or something where it's like you can enter a whole different competitive field. That's how I'm reading this Seven of Fire. It's like, and I love the cinnamon and lime here too. It's like you've got the spiciness now. You've got it, like own it. Enter that new field of competition. You have what it takes to be competitive in a new stratosphere. So yeah, there is some kind of, even if it's not like a literal promotion, it's like promote yourself, right? You're capable of a new level of functionality. So like act on that, claim it. It's powerful, right? So good on you. Beautiful month. That's great. Really good. Beautiful progress here. Definitely some hard work. Yeah, I mean, I think September's going to be some work for you guys, but like work that you feel connected to and proud of and in, right? Like you're in it. Yeah. Okay, so to end this, let's just get you a divine, like a nice, positive, lovely, divine feather message about your September. Grouse, embrace the power of dance and movement to access your highest guidance. And I love that dance and movement because I think of that 6 energy and that Virgo energy as rhythm, right? Finding your rhythm. So I think you've got that. Embrace the power you're tapping into in the rhythms you've honed and gained skilled in. Higher guidance is opening up to you because of this. Your own higher guidance, but I also think another level of higher guidance also gets invited in with that. Beautiful. I love this for you guys. Really great readings so far. All of them, really. All right. If this resonated, I'm always appreciative of support. Likes are a great way. Shares are awesome. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. Have an amazing September. Really, yeah, honor your leveling up this month, and I hope to see you in future readings. Hello, month number 7, people. Welcome to your September numerology reading. So this is going to be a somewhat short, somewhere between like 6 and 10 minute reading because I have 9 of these. They've all been so great so far. I'm really excited by this reading. Anyway, jumping in, let's go over 7 month a little bit in general, and then we'll pick a few tarot cards and then an oracle card as well to end. So 7 means you've gone through a lot of, in the cycling of 1 through 9, in terms of, we're speaking in months right now. So you've been through 6 months in your current patterning of 1 through 9 cycles. When you get to the 7, it's sort of like you've gotten over a certain hump of growth and development and maturing and effort, right? And 7 is this somewhat sweet spot. It's one of my favorite numbers in that 1 through 7 cycle, where there is this, like, you've reached a certain level of competence, right, in whatever this cycle has been about for you. And you suddenly come into this spaciousness where you're allowed to start to seek deeper meaning to what you are doing, where you're headed. What has this all been about? What is this 1 through 6? What have the last 6 months even been about, right? Like, I've grown a lot, I've developed a lot, I've gained skills, I've, whatever, but like, what does it mean? Where is this taking me? And it's this really beautiful kind of seeking month where you're looking for deeper meaning, deeper patterns, looking for kind of like even esoteric connections or like more deeper scientific understandings of things. You're just like looking for the deeper aspects of it. What is some truth underneath all of this? Where is my psyche connected to what I've been doing? It's like really, it's just like diving into just the deliciousness of like exploring, what does this even mean to me, right? I've been hustling, I've been growing, I've been making life happen, but like, why, right? That kind of is the feeling of 7 to me. So initially you have the Wheel of Fortune showing up, which I really love for this 7 energy. It feels like the spaciousness you're coming into this month and the ability you'll have to kind of ask deeper questions and investigate deeper questions and explore deeper questions will feel kind of like a shift of season to you. It'll feel like a different energy unfolding that's lighter, right? Where it's like, I have space to breathe. I have space to indulge in questions that I didn't really have time to indulge in before. And it feels like a different mode, right? It feels like I've entered a more relaxed state of being, a greater, I have a certain proficiency and competence to back me up and give me a platform to take space now. Like, I don't have to hustle anymore. I'm confident in what I'm doing, and that confidence is allowing me to take some space. And that feels like a different spin of the wheel. That feels like I'm honoring my strengths and taking the space I need to orient myself in a more deep, masterful way. So it's like standing on the work you've done before, honoring it by taking the space to make it something deeper and more potent. And so it just signifies this turn of the wheel of like, I have authority to stand on now, and I don't have to prove anything anymore, right? I'm proficient, I'm competent, I'm authoritative here. There's nothing left to prove to myself, so I'm going to take the space to take life a little deeper now. Okay, so let's see where that does take you. We'll do a few more tarot cards and then end with an oracle card as well. The way those cards just fell out, I feel that felt to me like a lot of questions. You're going to come up with a lot of questions in September. Okay, and then we've got Curandera of Air. Yes, you are honoring and really recognizing a certain mental authority, a certain intellect that you've developed, and mastered, and honoring the wisdom that brings you, using the wisdom that brings you, which means you're asking really like deep, profound kind of questions, right? If you're already coming from this masterful place and then you're seeking on top of that, it's like you're really reaching into consciousness itself, I feel like here. Two of Air, that's interesting. This card has come out in many readings, so I don't know what that's about, but I don't know if there's a deep question. There's maybe a really specific, I don't know, I had all those cards fall, and so it felt like a lot of questions were coming for you this month. But there's like one question that's really sticking out. There's a very specific question, I think, arising in your life in September, which may be the thing that instigates you slowing down to ask deeper questions. Because it's like there's a question that comes up that you don't know what to do about. So that's where I'm going to leave that for a second. Let's see what else comes out. So Ace of Earth. It's a question that might lead you to a new start in some way. A start in like what you ground your life in. Because we're asking really profound questions, I want to do the Ace of Earth justice here in terms of like, rather than saying like, oh, maybe a new career, but it's like, no, it's like, what are you grounding your life in? So this feels like really big picture question. Like you're asking a profound question, I think, this month of like what you're even building your life upon. What is it grounded in? Yeah, interesting. But I think you're going to figure it out, and it's not going to be through reasoning, through intellect, which is kind of paradoxical to what I was saying, where you do have this very wise, masterful intellect that's unfolding and that you're really honoring and stepping into and claiming. Yet the questions you're asking are asking you to move beyond mind, beyond intellect, to make some kind of decision about your life that can't be made through the mind. And a question about how you're even, like, what your life is grounded in. So very philosophical stuff coming up for you this month. But you may find a new sense of empowerment in life because you've found, it's like your mind has maybe asked questions, you've done a lot of seeking, but it's like your heart finds an answer outside of your mind that helps you to understand what you're really wanting to ground your life in. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. It's definitely kind of conceptual stuff, but that's fitting because 7 is a very kind of conceptual number. So just in general, expect a very conceptual feeling month ahead. But one that really could really like powerfully reorient your life, bringing us back to a change of season, the Wheel of Fortune, again in a different way, like changing this, whatever you find this month, it's like changes how you are orienting your life, right? It's changing your season of life in some way. Okay, let's leave you with a message from the Divine Feather Messenger about your September. We've got Ostrich. The choice is clear for you now. I love that synchronicity. Follow the wisdom and truth you feel in your heart. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, there's a choice, and it's your heart that is going to end up making that choice. Your mind may have the questions that help you to seek the right types of things or the right information or do the right kind of seeking, but ultimately it's your heart that is making the choice. Okay, so yeah, interesting. I'd love to hear at the end of September if there was a big choice for you guys that changed the feeling of the season of your life somehow. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, I always appreciate support. Likes is an awesome way to do that. Sharing is always awesome too. And in general, just thank you for being here. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And hope to see you in future readings. Hello, pile 8, or I should say those of you who are entering an 8 numerological month for September. We are going to have a pretty quick reading since I'm doing 9 piles here. So we'll do a few tarot and an oracle card. So before we jump into tarot, just a little bit about an 8 month in general. I'm going to give you an analogy. So I also watch my numerology in terms of the days I experience. So it cycles in, life cycles of 1 through 9. So once we get to 9, we start over with a 1, and we can do that in our year, we can do that in our month, but we also do that in the days. And when I sort of connected to the formula I now use for numerology, it just like clicked in, and my days align so crazy accurate with the numbers. And I have to say, when an 8 day comes, that is the one that is the most obvious always. Like, oh, today is an 8 day for sure. And then I'll look and I'll be like, yep. It's just like so clear to me when I'm experiencing an 8 day. And in an 8 month, it's even that much more potent because you have a whole month of this energy. So what it is, I'm going to get a little bit esoteric here. 8 in that cycle of 1 through 9 is when we are coming into the power spot. We have power when we have 8 behind us. We have developed the authority we need. We've developed the networks we need. We've developed the influence we need to really kind of honestly assert a little bit of dominance in life. You don't have to be a bully about it, right? But there's something where it's like you are capable of taking on sort of that dominant energy with the credentials behind it. So what I'll say is, like, in my days, I definitely connect and resonate with all of them. But there are times when, I'll get a little tired and I'll be like, oh my gosh, the 8 days and 2 days, or it's tomorrow. Like, there's no way I'm going to have the energy to do an 8 day, because anytime an 8 day comes, I have the motivation and energy to move worlds. I get so much done on 8 days. But the day that comes before it, or the month that comes before it, is 7, and that's a little more dreamy. It's a little bit more spacious. You're in nebulous territory. You're asking philosophical questions. You're not really like getting a lot done in your practical life. And so when you're anchored in that 7 day or 7 month, and you're thinking, oh, tomorrow is an 8 day, like, I can't even fathom that I'm going to have that motivation or energy. So you're coming from a 7 month where it's like, I can't fathom having a whole month where I'm going to have to be at it and producing a lot and getting shit done, right? But every time I step out of the 7 day into the 8 day, and I wake up and I'm like, here we go, 8 day, I don't know if I'm going to have the energy. Immediately I get out of bed, and it's like from go to bedtime, from the minute I step foot out of bed till the minute I get back in bed to go to sleep for that night, I have the energy and like things get done. So just saying, this is a month where things are gonna get done. All the things you've put to the side, all the things you're like, I've got to do this, and do I have the energy this is the month you will have the energy, especially if you watch your days and you connect to the 8-day power days. And so I love that the 8th card is what came out for you guys, and that it happens to be strength as well, which is about like, pulling your energy together. Strength is connected to the Leo energy, which is about shining, taking control, finding your power, being a leader, stepping up for yourself, advocating for yourself, showing your power in the world, playing that dominant hand, right? And so I love that theme coming out with just like out of the gate confirmation, like, yes, it is a power month. Go for it. Show your stuff, show off, flaunt it, claim your power, assert your power. Don't be a bully, but, honor what you've built in the last 7, you've had 7 months of building and growing, and now it's your time to claim your throne, right? To get your things done, get your promotions, achieve what you've set out to achieve. This is the month to strike. Okay, so let's get a few more tarot cards. This one wants to come out. 10 of water. Oh, you are orchestrating. You are on fire. Yes. 10 of water. You are bringing the orchestra into harmony. You are conducting. You are the conductor this month. That solidified that. Like, you are a conductor this month. You are organizing chaos into art. You are composing life and creating art out of life. 5 of earth. Strategies, putting strategies into place. This is another Leo card. Putting strategies into place. Starting to see life as a game of chess rather than checkers. Understanding how to strategize using your, using the command and force you have to make strategic moves. And 5 is always a change energy, creating change too, right? And then Hija of earth. All this power, all this authority, all this command coming through is also leading to new opportunity, I think. New questions, new curiosities. It's kind of fun for this Hija of earth to come out with all this power energy that's here, where it's like at the end of the day, you're open to pushing yourself into new territory. Sometimes when we find a certain authority or command, we'll just be like, this is my niche. I'm going to plant my flag here and stay here forever because I've built my empire. But you're like, no, I still want to explore. I still want to push myself. I still want to grow. I'm still curious. There's still a lot to understand in life, a lot of different things I want to try and do, and I'm still willing to be a beginner. So I feel like at the end of the day, you're still connected to this sense of always willing to learn, always willing to put yourself into new things, into new curiosities, always willing to still be a beginner, even though you're master in one area. Doesn't mean you have to take your ego with you. And so holding yourself back from being a true beginner in another thing, you're able to be like, well, I can have my ego here. And, not that you have to be in your ego when you're in a, like you're masterful. But what I'm saying is it can be hard to be a newbie at something when you are a master at something else and not have ego enter. But you are, maybe this is a month where you're learning something about that, how to compartmentalize that. Like, yeah, just because I'm a master here, I'm learning a lot about how to shed my ego to be a newbie at something different, right? And how to switch modes. Like maybe part of my day I'm taking this new kind of class where like I'm starting to take physics or something, and I know nothing about physics, and I'm okay being the idiot. But then I have to step back into my CEO role when I go back to work and own my power and be authoritative and decisive and a leader, like that, where it's like, and then after work I can come back home and play with my kids and be playful and light and silly and goofy and stupid. And it's like something's clicking in, I think, for you this month, where you know how to be in your different modes and find strength in that. Like your life strengthens overall by allowing yourself to be in different modes based on what that the best, based on how you get the most out of it, right? Yeah, so, and it's just like you're finding your power in knowing how to show up to different things, even if that's showing up very, very differently in different parts of your day, and knowing that your ability to do that just strengthens your life overall. Yeah, really cool energy. It's very wise stuff coming out here. I like it. Okay, let's leave you with a really beautiful message from the Divine Feather Messenger about your September 8th month. Raven, the universe is calling you to notice important synchronicities. Ooh, well, I mean, I think that's personal message for each of you. I'm not going to try to read into that, but there are, there's something the universe is wanting you each to become aware of, that are important. And so stay present to synchronicities. Those probably will hold more meaning and interesting openings than you would realize. So yeah, stay open to and notice and aware of synchronicities going on. Follow them, right? Okay, I hope you guys have a magical September. Really get your life, some power and get things done and reach your goals and just, get to it. Feel that power this month. All right, if this resonated, I always am appreciative of support. Likes are a great way. Sharing is always great. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And wishing you a gorgeous September and hope to see you in the future. Hello, my pile number 9, last pile. So those of you who are going to be experiencing a 9 numerological month for September, which is interesting because September is also a 9 month. So it's kind of a double whammy there, which also means, depending on when your birthday was, you may be a little different for you, but if there hasn't been a birthday since January, then your months have been, you've literally gone through all 9 months in this cycle, one after the other, and each month number has aligned with your cycle number. But jumping into this, we're going to do a few tarot cards. It's going to be kind of a short read since I have 9 piles here. So we'll do a few tarot cards and then an oracle card. But to start, just going over a little bit about a number 9 month in general. So it's the end of a cycle. 1 through 9 is the cycle, and then you start back over at 1. When we get to 9, it's like the elder status of whatever this cycle has been about for you. So potentially since January, whatever kind of a theme that you've been building upon and growing and how you've been developing, you're reaching some kind of wisdom now. And because it's easier for me to really watch the patterns in my daily numerology cycles, I can relay a lot more about how 9 days feel to me. That ending cycle of any of the numbers has a lot of variability in it. Because at the end of a cycle, you've had this whole cycle, so that end could be about so many different things. And the wisdom, the type of wisdom you have to hold at the end of something could have to present in so many different ways. So when I come to 9 days, which is every 9 days, so you get those a lot, I tend to I have like 3 or so different typical scenarios that play out. Sometimes the 9-day feels a little bit chaotic, like things are falling apart, I'm wrapping up loose ends. I don't know if I would call it busy, but it feels like I'm holding a lot, right? Energetically even. But at the same time, there is this certain perspective where I'm able to still step back and find a certain calmness about it. The other thing I'll find is where I just feel like that elder that has some wisdom to share, where it's a little bit more of a calm day, but there might be something I really feel like I have to offer to the world, right? Sometimes that's more personal, like sometimes I will experience people seeking me out for some wisdom on a 9-day, or sometimes I just feel something come up where, whether it's in a tarot reading or social media or like whatever it is. I actually don't do a lot of social media anymore, but there's some kind of wisdom I feel compelled to share, right? There's some message you've found a wisdom in. The other thing I tend to find with the 9-day that comes is just these sort of profound universalizing energies. Like sometimes I'll tap into like a message from someone. They don't literally have to be an elder, but like all of a sudden I'll watch like a TED Talk or listen to a podcast or even a tarot reading, and it's like some really profound message comes to me that's like sourced from like a deeper elder status wisdom that's like, oh, I'm really glad that message sank in today. Like I was prepared to really receive that, right? So those are just some different ways I've tended to experience the 9, but it is definitely coming into elder status in terms of, month energies. So for you, this initial card that's come out is Justice. And so I feel like the wisdom you're coming into is something about, more personally, it could be like finding a certain balance in your life. Justice can help us to find a certain balance or a certain self-acceptance, or there could literally be some kind of determination that's being made in your life that's creating a greater sense of fairness, or you're drawing some boundaries or lines that are clarifying what is and isn't okay in your life, that is helping to create better boundaries in relationships or in attention or something. But some wisdom coming through that in some way is creating kind of a better balance in your life, a better fairness of things or balance, whatever it is, and better relations, something along those lines. Let's get a few more tarot cards to see what else comes up about this. Madre of Water, yeah, you're really coming from a place of knowing how to nourish yourself, like finding certain wisdoms about what it is that helps you to feel nourished, hence have the capacity to be a nourishing force in the world, to give guidance, to nurture things outside of you. Yeah, just having a presence. Like I'm feeling that's like your presence. You're being able to show up with a very nourished, nurturing presence. And an ability to, because that elder status is, you know, kind of like a guide, right? So an ability to give some guidance to that about nourishment or from a nourished place. And then we have the 5 of Fire. Finding the power of your heart is what this is feeling like. The image on this card is what is coming out about that. Like knowing how to show your heart and how to show up in your heart. You know, I'm playing off the Justice, like where there is a tension, right? Because sometimes that 5 of Fire can talk about like some conflicts, and then we have Justice here. But the image here is like, to me, is like showing your heart, being able to show up in your heart. And that's, I think, that thing that's helping you to bring some kind of boundaries or determination or balance to things. Yeah, and just like embodying this very kind of nourished guidance. And then Adelita of Earth. Yeah, I'm finding the ability to take action to wrap some things up here in a practical way, in a grounded way, but there is energy shown here. Like you do have the energy to wrap some things up with stability, with thoughtfulness, with kind of a grounded capacity. So yeah, I do see, yeah, the potential that there are some conflicts. You're settling from a very wise place. You're maybe coming into perspectives needed to settle something, and having the energy to do the actual work that needs to be done to tie up some loose ends around that. But embodying, coming from this presence of like being nourished and nourishing things, knowing how to give very sensitive guidance to things. So this may even be stuff that's outside of you, because I do feel you being some sort of like guidance center. But there may be things around you. I mean, this may be stuff directly related to your own life and things you're doing in your own life, but it might just be things that surround you because of the kind of guidance you're capable of giving right now. Is able to give fair assessments and come from your heart, and be able to kind of tell people pragmatically things that they should actively be doing, right? That they, because this Adelita of Earth may be other people you're guiding, of like, giving the guidance of what it is that they should be doing on a practical level to kind of stabilize a certain balance coming in. Yeah. But, for some of you, this could be just things going on in your own life. But I do feel a balance coming in, this wisdom, like around sensitivity and emotion, and like really knowing how to take care of yourself and show up in a way that's nourishing to others, and a guidance force in that capacity too. Okay, so let's get you an ending message about your September from the Divine Feather Messenger. I'm filling this card. Crane, you will soon enter into a beneficial partnership. Yeah, that could be justice. Luck and longevity bless this union. Yeah, so use your wisdom. That might be, maybe this partnership has something to do with that Adelita of Earth. It's like you bring sort of the wisdom and the sort of that elder kind of quality to a certain partnership, and the other person kind of brings the energy and the doing, right? You're like the being and they're the doing kind of thing. You're kind of like the seasoned professional, and they're kind of the elbow grease, maybe. I don't know, something like that, or something in that realm. But some, because justice is associated with Libra, which does have partnership associations. So there may be some really balancing, beautiful kind of partnership coming into being, and it's like, show your heart with this, but be strategic, and allow yourself to be pulled into a partnership for the wisdom you have, and the nourishment you have, right? So yeah, really cool. All right, that's where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope it's an amazing, beautiful September, and you really step into and find your wisdom here. If this resonated, I always appreciate support, likes, shares, subscribes. Those are all great. Kind and thoughtful comments are always appreciated as well, and I hope to see you in future readings.